Guardian Media Limited's bias reporting. Undermining the Prasad-Bisesar administration through partisan journalism. Article by Vishnu Kun. In an era where media integrity is paramount, Guardian Media Limited, GML, has come under scrutiny for what many argue is a pattern of agenda-driven reporting aimed at undermining the Kamla Prasad-Bisesar administration. The latest example, a manufactured controversy over the Prime Minister's absence from a post-cabinet press briefing, reveals a disturbing pattern where sensationalism trumps substance, and narrative manipulation replaces factual journalism. GML's recent attempt to frame Prime Minister Prasad-Bisesar's absence from a post-cabinet briefing as an evasion of questions on Venezuela's political rhetoric is a textbook case of narrative engineering. Post-cabinet briefings have always been primarily conducted by ministers to relay policy updates, not serve as high-stakes interrogations of the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Nicolás Maduro's regime, unrecognized by major democracies such as the US, EU, and OAS, holds no substantive influence over Trinidad and Tobago's governance. GML's insistence on amplifying his statements as a burning issue suggests either deliberate distraction or partisan alignment with opposition PNM. This raises a critical question for media analysts. Why does GML elevate Maduro's rhetoric a non-factor in TNT's policy agenda while undermining domestic governance milestones? A glaring inconsistency emerges when comparing GML's treatment of the current administration versus the former PNM government. Former Prime Minister Keith Rowley faced minimal media backlash for prolonged unexplained absences, including overseas trips during crises. In contrast, Prime Minister Prasad-Bisesar maintained high visibility early in her term, delegating briefings only after establishing structured ministerial accountability. This selective reporting suggests a partisan bias rather than a commitment to balanced journalism by Guardian Media Limited. While GML fixates on contrived controversies, the Prasad-Bisesar administration has advanced critical reforms. Amendments to the Children's Life Fund to improve healthcare access for vulnerable youth, a policy with life or death implications, received scant coverage. Similarly, the repeal of the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, TTRA, which addressed legitimate concerns about state overreach and politicized taxation, was met with silence from GML. Meanwhile, an independent TV6 poll, historically perceived as PNM-leaning, showed 89% public approval of the government's flood response, a statistic GML downplayed. If governance were as ineffective as GML implies, such overwhelming public satisfaction in key areas would be inexplicable. The ethical concerns surrounding GML's reporting are impossible to ignore. By prioritizing non-issues like Venezuela's political posturing and the Prime Minister's briefing attendance over substantive policy analysis, GML fails in its fundamental duty to inform the public. Journalism should be rooted in facts, not sensationalism tailored to opposition agendas. If GML wishes to regain credibility, it must confront its own biases and report on the government's actual record rather than manufactured controversies. The evidence suggests that GML has strayed far from journalistic integrity, operating more as a partisan entity than an impartial news organization. Through selective reporting, disproportionate scrutiny, and the suppression of positive developments, GML undermines both media credibility and public trust. In a functioning democracy, the media must serve as a watchdog, not a political attack dog. Until GML corrects course, citizens must remain vigilant, seeking alternative sources for balanced information. The pressing question remains: will Guardian Media Limited recommit to ethical journalism, or will it continue to betray public trust in service of a partisan agenda?